The Bible warned us about this. Hey guys, Britt here. Welcome to End Times Bible Prophecy. What am I talking about? Well, we see government authorities rolling out new levels of surveillance with intrusive systems that used to only exist in Hollywood blockbusters. So that's what we're going to talk about today and what's coming next after what they're trying to roll out. But first, let's take a look at this right here. So this is from brittgillette.substack.com. This is an article that came out yesterday, part 2 in a 3-part series about the end times financial system they want to trap you in, all of us. We're seeing this system roll out right now. In part 1, we talked about central bank digital currencies. In part 2, this article, we talk about tokenized assets. What's a tokenized asset? What is the prophetic significance of tokenized assets? How should we be viewing these? What are they about to roll out? So you'll want to make sure to check out this article if you haven't already. I'll pin a link to this at the top of the comments so you can go check it out again on brittgillette.substack.com. So, what are the new levels of intrusive surveillance the government wants to roll out on us? Well, let's look at this article right here from TechSpot. It says New York wants to use artificial intelligence and cameras to detect subway crime before it happens. It says 10 people were murdered in New York City subways last year. Another authority is turning to AI in the hope of being able to predict crimes or problematic behavior before it occurs. New York's Metropolitan Transportation Authority plans to use the technology on the city's subways by analyzing live security footage for potential troublemakers. MTA Chief Security Officer Michael Kemper said via The Gothamist that the agency is working with AI companies to develop the software that can analyze real-time subway platform feeds. The plan is that if the software identifies someone who appears to be acting unusually, suspiciously, or irrationally, it would trigger an alert that in turn would trigger a response from security or the police department. Kemper said that the police response would come, quote, before waiting for something to happen, i.e. stopping a crime before it happens, Minority Report style. And that's a reference to the Hollywood film Minority Report, which is probably, I would think, over 20 years old at this point. It starred Tom Cruise, and he worked in this department of pre-crime where they would anticipate crimes that people were about to commit, and they'd go arrest them for those crimes before they committed them. They haven't gotten to that point yet where they're talking about doing that, but this is a step in that direction, and it shows the power of these surveillance systems where we already know what the cameras do with facial recognition, and now they're using AI to look at body movements, hand movements, facial movements, everything else to try to predict behaviors before they take place. This goes on. It says, AI is the future, Kemper said during a committee meeting. We're working with tech companies literally right now and seeing what's out there right now on the market, what's feasible, what would work in the subway system. MTA spokesperson Aaron Donovan emphasized that the predictive system would not use facial recognition, adding that the AI technology is designed to identify behaviors, not people. And I would say, not yet. So notice that they say the predictive system isn't going to use facial recognition. Well, what about your other systems? Oh, well, yeah, they have facial recognition, right? So eventually it's going to have all of these technologies embedded into one thing. There have been several instances of unprovoked attacks in New York subway systems in recent times, including people being pushed onto the tracks. 10 people were murdered in New York City subways last year, according to police. Not everyone is happy about the planned use of this technology. Quote, using artificial intelligence a technology notoriously unreliable and biased to monitor our subways and send in police, risked exacerbating these disparities and creating new problems, wrote New York Civil Liberties Union Senior Policy Counsel Justin Harrison in a statement. Living in a sweeping surveillance state shouldn't be the price we pay to be safe. Real public safety comes from investing in our communities, not from omnipresent surveillance. This is far from the first crime predicting technology we've seen. Earlier this month, it was reported that the UK is developing a homicide prediction algorithm to identify potential violent offenders. South Korea is also testing Deja Vu, an artificial intelligence platform that scans closed-circuit television feeds to spot patterns linked to imminent crime and alert authorities before it happens. Back in 2022, an academic team announced it had created a model capable of forecasting crime up to 7 days ahead with roughly 90% accuracy. That same year, reports emerged that China was exploring large-scale citizen profiling, aiming to use automated analytics to flag individuals who might become dissidents or lawbreakers before any wrongdoing occurs. And guys, that's exactly what the threat from all of this is. We already know they're using these predictive algorithms on us already. I've talked about how I would think of something and then it would appear as the first option on the television screen. Watch this. And there was no reason it should have known that. It wasn't a pattern of behavior. There was some sort of predictive algorithm that took all of the data that was gathered on me for that day or that week or who knows how long and predicted that that's what I was thinking at that time. And we know, we've talked in the past about they've done lab tests where they've had subjects think of something, just imagine something, present an image in your mind, and they are able to read that person's mind and tell them with astounding levels of accuracy exactly what they were thinking about. So guys, all of this technology is coming. We're going to see more of this, and the level of detail, the level of surveillance is going to go to a whole new level. So I want to take a look at this right here. Again, this is a book I wrote. It's right over my shoulder, Racing Toward Armageddon, Why Advanced Technology Signals the End Times. And I wrote this several years ago. I think this came out in 2017. It's based on writings much older than that. But we foretold all of this. And so that's important to know for what else we said would come in that book. And therefore, what are we going to see? Because what's coming next is going to be even more invasive. So let's read an excerpt from this to figure out what is next. It says, "Think you already live in a surveillance society? If so, I can't blame you. Take your smartphone, for instance. It sends off signals. Those signals are tracked. Apps use them to reveal traffic patterns. Retailers use them to track the path you take through a store and how long you spend in front of a product display. In fact, your smartphone reveals almost everything about you. Your location, your social connections, everything. Who's on your speed dial? Who are your Facebook friends? Who do you text or call the most or least? Where do you do your banking? Your phone knows all the answers. If you carry your phone everywhere you go, then GPS tracks your location everywhere you go. If the government has the information on your phone, it knows almost everything about you. Most people know all of this. What about your web surfing habits? Did you know there's a record of everything you do online forever? Every website you've ever visited, every email you've ever sent, it's all stored. The government can retrieve it all. And it's the same with phone calls and text messages. Voice recognition technologies already scan your phone calls, both landline and mobile. Algorithms already sift through every phone call, email, and text message. And that's just your digital footprint. What about cameras? Cameras are everywhere: street corners, storefronts, residential neighborhoods, inside and outside of buildings. Most of them go unnoticed. And microphones are everywhere too, in televisions, phones, laptops, and other devices. They can and often do listen to what you say. We've talked about that with Alexa and a lot of these AI agents. They're listening all the time and they're recording as they do that. There's no escaping it. Nothing is private anymore, but unfortunately, you haven't seen anything yet. Believe it or not, future technology will make today's surveillance seem Stone Age in comparison. It'll be everywhere. Again, think it already is. Trust me, it's not, but it's coming. Soon the government will have access to everything you say or do. Everything, guys. Every conversation, everything. How is this possible? Well, it's possible because of the same advanced technologies that will make mutual assured destruction obsolete. We talked about those in the past. It's possible because of the same technologies that will allow one nation to conquer the world with relative ease. These same technologies will give rise to a new generation of surveillance tools. Think about it. In the past, what kept government from spying on every aspect of human life? The answer is simple: resources. No government has ever had the resources. They're just too massive. To bug every possible meeting space, have cameras everywhere, or have government agents in every location has always been too costly. And that's assuming the technology existed to make it possible anyway. But another obstacle has blocked 24/7 surveillance. Even if you could gather every piece of information, every conversation, every email, every text, and every act a person performs, what would you do with all the information? How would you process that much data? How would you connect the dots and make sense of what you've gathered? You couldn't. But that won't be true forever. And guys, we're beginning to witness this right now, right in front of us. Technologies just around the corner will tackle both of these problems. Molecular manufacturing, something we've talked about a lot on this channel, will open the door to an endless supply of cameras and listening devices. Manufacturing at scale from the bottom up with atomically precise construction, they'll be able to roll out trillions and trillions of cameras. Using solar energy and cheap raw materials, a global government could make trillions and trillions of high-definition cameras and microphones. Now, you might be thinking, sure, Britt, trillions with a T of cameras and microphones, that's ridiculous. Where would they put so many devices? That's what you're thinking, I get it, but the devices of the future won't be like the devices of today. Imagine each one of those trillions of cameras and microphones is the size of a dust particle. Some might be so small the naked eye cannot see them. These cameras and microphones will constantly record everything. How will they be placed? Well, they won't. Just like dust, they'll spread across the earth and settle on every surface. They'll be everywhere. They'll settle on your clothes. They'll come in through the ventilation in your house. They'll stick to the bottom of your shoes. And they'll blow through the streets. They'll be everywhere. And this nanodust will send raw video and audio content straight to the government where it's stored forever. How could the government possibly store so much information? Again, advanced technology. Once molecular manufacturing appears, they'll be able to create storage devices far more powerful than those of today. Storage devices so small they can't be seen will be able to hold all the information now available on the internet. And how will the government sift through all this data? Again, we're seeing it right now. It would take legions of intelligence analysts, a century or more to listen to just one day of global conversations. But humans won't comb through this data. Computers will. Molecular manufacturing, nanofactories, these technologies will arrive in tandem with other advanced technologies such as quantum computers and artificial intelligence. Quantum computers will be thousands of times faster than today's fastest computers. As quantum computers process the reams of data coming in every day, artificial intelligence will analyze that information, generate new intelligence, and to a much higher level of precision than any human analyst ever could, such as predicting from body movements who's likely to commit a crime on the subway. With these powerful technologies working together, a global government will have the ability to listen to every conversation on Earth. You'll have no place to hide. Even if you could manage to clear an area of all the nanodust, the government will know. They'll see their blindness to that area and investigate. And what if government surveillance could track your thoughts? That's what they're talking about right now in New York City's subways. Sounds crazy, doesn't it? Only it's not. Neuroengineers are already developing technologies to read a person's inner thoughts. These technologies measure brain activity and use algorithms to interpret patterns. This effectively results in reading a person's mind. Now, the stated reason for developing this technology is to help people who can't speak. But what happens when this technology is used for evil? What happens if government uses it to read minds? And I would say, what happens when government uses it to read minds? If that happens, even your thoughts won't be private. In such a world, fugitives will have no place to hide and no way to escape. The government will know where everyone is at any given moment. Everything you do and say will be seen and heard by an all-powerful, omnipresent government. And the one who controls the system will have complete power over the world. Guys, the Bible warned us about this. We read in Revelation chapter 13, verse 7, it says, "And the beast was allowed to wage war against God's holy people and to conquer them. And he was given authority to rule over every tribe and people and language and nation." So we're going to have a global empire, and that global empire is going to be so powerful, people will say, who can make war against the Antichrist? Who can make war against the beast? Who could possibly stand up against him? And the book of Daniel tells us only Jesus Christ will be able to do that. So we'll have an all-powerful government. It will be able to control who can buy and sell. We read that in Revelation chapter 13, verses 16 through 17. Every single economic transaction, they'll have insight into it. We talked about the 3-part series over on brittgillette.substack.com that's talking about the elements of that system being put in place right now. So we're seeing all of this come about right in front of our eyes, along with all the things Jesus and the prophets told us to look for that would indicate the tribulation period. And thus, Jesus said, when you see all these things coming, know that I am near, right at the door. Well, we're seeing these, and yet people have grown immune to it. They think, oh, well, here's yet another story about, 24/7 surveillance. They're surveilling us. We're going to have digital currency. We're going to have all these things. People are starting to develop almost a hardness of heart or a callousness to the news we hear. Well, this is just the way it's been, right? They forget that all of these things are coming in our day and time, in our generation. And previous generations of Christians did not see these things. And I think there's a bit of complacency starting to set in among a large portion of the population. And it's exactly what we would expect to see in the end times. We see this from Luke chapter 17, verses 26 through 30. This is Jesus speaking. And he says, "When the Son of Man returns, it will be like it was in Noah's day. In those days, the people enjoyed banquets and parties and weddings right up until the time Noah entered his boat, and the flood came and destroyed them all. And the world will be as it was in the days of Lot. People went about their daily business, eating and drinking, buying and selling, farming and building, until the morning Lot left Sodom. Then fire and burning sulfur rained down from heaven and destroyed them all. Yes, it will be business as usual right up to the day when the Son of Man is revealed. Really explains our day and time. We're seeing all these signs. All the signs Jesus and the prophets said to look for. We see the nation of Israel back in the land. We see the Jewish people in control of Jerusalem. We see the gospel being preached to the ends of the earth. We see the Gog of Magog alliance coming together. We see a revived form of the Roman Empire cropping up in the European Union, and it fits every characteristic except for the 10 nations that we read about in Daniel chapter 2. We see things like this, where we see surveillance on a scale unimaginable just a generation ago, with artificial intelligence sifting through patterns and data to track and to catalog people, to send out police at a moment's notice in anticipation of crimes. We see digital currencies rolling out and the ability to be able to control who can buy or sell anything. We see all of these issues coming, and the world says, okay, yeah, what's next? We know this. Been telling it, here we go again. More rumors of wars, more of these things. You hear what we hear again in 2 Peter chapter 3, verses 3 through 4. It says, most importantly, I want to remind you that in the last days, scoffers will come mocking the truth and following their own desires. They will say, what happened to the promise that Jesus is coming again? From before the times of our ancestors, everything has remained the same since the world was first created. We hear this today, people have been saying Jesus is coming back for years. All sorts of people have been pointing out all these things for years. Jesus hasn't come, and they imply, well, he's not coming. But no doubt about it, Jesus is coming back. And he told us the season of his return. He told us it would be right now. He said, when you begin to see all these things take place, I am near, I'm right at the door. I have no doubt about it. Jesus will fulfill that promise. He's coming back. We see all of these things around us, these signs at a fever pitch, coming in faster than we can imagine, but many people have just grown callous to seeing these types of stories. Oh, okay, yeah. So now we've got cameras in the subway, and AI is looking at people's bodies and trying to predict from their behavior if they're going to commit a crime. But don't worry, there's no facial recognition in these, right? But of course, we know they probably had the facial recognition when you enter, right? They're still using it. We know they're using all that. And even if they're not using it in New York, we know they're using it in China and elsewhere. And it's only a matter of time before it's being used all over the world. All of these things are setting the stage for the rise of the Antichrist during the 7-year tribulation. We're seeing so many signs all around us. And again, Jesus said that is the number one sign of his return, is the convergence of all of those signs. So we need to be busy sharing the good news of Jesus Christ with as many people as possible. Always be prepared to share the hope you have in Jesus Christ. Who knows how much time we have left? None of us know how many days we have left. Any of us could have our last day today. We don't know. But the time in general for the church is getting short, because I believe the rapture of the church comes before the tribulation. And we're seeing the tribulation period approach. We're seeing all of these signs, guys. This is just the latest one of so many. So make sure you are busy occupying doing the Lord's work. So let me know what you think. Leave your comments below. And God willing, I will see you on Monday.